Good afternoon and welcome to the McLeod Center as we welcome new UNI head coach Todd Stepsis and his family to the UNI campus. I'm Pete Morris, Director of University Relations here at UNI, so thank you to everyone who joined us in person and who's watching online. At this time, for those of you who are here live and in person, if you can silence your mobile device, that would be awesome. We're going to hear from President Mark Nook, then who will introduce Director of Athletics Megan Franklin, and then we're going to hear from Coach Stepsis himself. Following those introductory remarks, we'll have questions from the dais here, and then we'll have some one-on-one interview opportunities and photo ops with our party here at the dais. So, at this time, it is my distinct pleasure to cue up Justin Mertz and the UNI band for a little fight song as we welcome Todd Stepsis and his family to UNI. All right, thank you to the UNI band for being here today and joining us along with our mascots and Spirit students. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the president of the University of Northern Iowa, Mr. Mark Nook.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you and to welcome Todd and Angie and Addison and Avery to the University of Northern Iowa and especially to the Cedar Valley. It's great to have all of you here. You know, it's just 8 years and 3 days ago that Cheryl and I were standing in front of you being introduced as the new president here at the University of Northern Iowa. I know what this feels like, Todd. I know how exciting it is for you and your family. But more importantly, I know how welcoming this community is. In the 8 years that we've been here, the way that they have rolled out the welcome mat for us, treated us like family, helped us become family here in the Valley. It really is remarkable what this community, what this university does to welcome the people who work here. And they recognize that you as the head coach here and the role that you play and the role that your family will play here in the Valley is very, very important to all of us. There's a strong sense of community here that really reminds me of the small town that I grew up in that is so heartfelt and so important to Cheryl and I. So welcome to this community. You're going to really love it here, and we all love having you here already. You know, after an extensive interview process with more than 30 applicants in this pool, I had the opportunity to do some Zoom calls with all of the finalists and to get to know them. The Zoom call with Todd was really exceptional. The way he talked about developing young men, the way he talked about the importance of UNI in the Missouri Valley Football Conference and the Missouri Valley Conference, the importance of UNI in this community really set him apart. I was very, very impressed with his credentials, but also with the way that he talked about things that are important to us, values, building young men, helping them grow academically, helping them grow professionally, and helping them grow as human beings. So it's a real pleasure to have Todd joining us. And the other day, I was down at the Iowa Business Council meeting, and as I walked into that room, which is a group of 20 to 25 of Iowa's CEOs of their largest, most impactful companies in Iowa. Two of them came charging, and I use that word literally, charging across the room as I walked in to come up and say, one of them said, "I work out with Todd every day. What a hire you've made." Des Moines is going to miss Todd and Angie a great deal. And you guys in the Cedar Valley are so lucky and so blessed. It was a real testament to have them come over and say what they did about this family. Finally, the other day, I had the opportunity, as Todd was on campus, to watch him work with the young men of this football program. He threw the football around with a few of them and then started to talk with the quarterbacks and the wide receiving corps. And I stood behind him. I don't think he knew I was there, watching the looks on the young men's faces as he talked with them, to see them engage with him, to see them interact, to see the way they listened, and then to have them come up afterwards and thank us for bringing Todd here. Well, meant more than probably anything else or anyone could say to us. Oh, we are extremely impressed with Todd's credentials and extremely blessed to have Todd and Angie and Addison and Avery join the Panther family. Please join me in welcoming this remarkable family to the Panther family and the Cedar Valley. Thank you.
This is an awesome day, Panther family. We have the opportunity to welcome a head coach for the first time in 8 years. I know Coach Lincoln is really sorry to give up the newest head coach position in the head coaching room, but today he gets to do it with Todd Stepsis. First, I want to say some thank yous as we went about an extensive search for the next head coach. I do want to thank President Nook for his support throughout the head coach search process. It gave us an opportunity to talk about what our goals were for UNI football, that to find a leader with an intentional culture program for the betterment of the locker room, and a coach pursuing MVFC and national championships. Thank you to the senior staff, head coaches and department heads who continued to lead the department the last couple weeks as I took the time to step away and really focus on the search. I knew the department was in good hands and would continue running full steam ahead at a very, very exciting time of the year. I also want to thank Michelle Byers, Assistant Vice President and Director of Human Resources, and Michael Hager, Senior Vice President for Finance and Operations, for their support throughout the search process. There were many conversations over weekends and times of commitment throughout evenings that took them away from their positions but wanted to help us find the right next head coach. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Elaine Eschbaugh and her family. She's our faculty athletics rep, and she hung out with my William while I needed to work on finding a coach. I also want to thank my dad for flying in from North Carolina and spending some time with Will so I too can continue the search. So here we are. I get to introduce to you the 24th head coach at the University of Northern Iowa for football. The next head coach who follows in the footsteps of men who impacted student-athletes' lives across generations, served as ambassadors of the athletics department and the University of Northern Iowa, and they were wonderful members of the Cedar Valley community. From the inaugural year of Panther football, the goals for this program haven't changed. They are to win conference championships and to have a locker room of a brotherhood. In that vein, I set out to find the next head coach. In doing so, I identified attributes important to the head coach role. First, and most importantly, a coach who leads with love in every aspect of the program, who speaks directly to honoring the student athlete to whom they are their whole best, complete self, who develops the total student athlete across academics, athletics, career development, and citizenship. A coach who has recruited student athletes who thrive at the institution because of their fit academically, athletically, character, and mental toughness. A coach who has won championships predicated on an intentional culture program. A coach who loves to compete. We know that if you play the best, you get to be the best. A coach who is striving for staff continuity, who builds a family among their staff. A coach who has demonstrated the ability to cultivate football alumni, involvement in fundraising efforts and with the football team and for the needs of the department and the university, and a leader and colleague among a highly successful head coaching cohort at UNI. I then met with the football captains from the team to find out what was important to them in their next head coach. Their feedback was wise beyond their years. They asked for a mentor of men, someone who knows and cares about everyone on the team, cultivates their love of the game of football. A coach who's approachable, who will talk to them about questions they have and get insight into the game. They wanted a coaching staff that was consistent and that was poured into for their professional development. They wanted to focus on recovery, strength and condition and nutrition, periodization across a long season. They want to play into the playoffs. And they wanted someone that would help them and steward time management and organization. I'm grateful to Drew Turner and Marcy Lanou with Collegiate Sports Associates for curating a pool of candidates who exhibited qualities in alignment with the portfolio I described, putting together attributes important to me and the student athletes. As President Nook described, we had a variety of candidates. We had over 30 in the pool. I met with 14 over Zoom, 6 in-person interviews, 3 finalists. Those candidates ranged in head coaches' roles across the NCAA and NAIA, coordinators and assistant coaches across FBS and FCS programs, and they reflected the reputation of the MVFC and the history of UNI football. I met incredible coaches who are making a difference with student athletes' lives and finding success on the gridiron. After days of conversations, I returned to the first piece of paper where I handwrote the attributes for the next head coach to help center me on what I was thinking about and deciding. It crystallized to me that I had to focus my decision on the heart of the locker room, the men of UNI football. I understood then that I had written those attributes because of the coach I had been working with for the last 10 years. There was only one candidate for the head coach in Todd Stepsis. When Todd and I first met to talk about the opportunity the week after he led the Bulldogs to back-to-back championships, his focus was on the men of the UNI roster and those committed student athletes. I described the attributes that the captains had described and what they were looking for in the next head coach, and it spoke to Todd. When I followed up with him a few days later to ask if he was still interested in continuing the conversation, his first response was that he was committed and thought there was a need to continue thinking about this to pour into the men in the locker room. Todd speaks to leading men to be their best by providing them with unconditional support during their collegiate careers. He teaches a 4-year leadership program in the spring alongside the values and goals of the program with his assistant coaching staff. Furthermore, Todd is a winner. His experience as a head coach with offense and defensive coordinator experience stood out among the pool of candidates. In his first coaching position at Ottervine, he coached the top-ranked pass defense in the conference and saw the program to their first winning season in nearly 20 years. As an assistant coach at Capital University, he was on a staff who were in the NCAA playoffs for 3 straight years from 2005 to 2007, making it to the quarterfinals in 2006 and 2007. At Saginaw Valley, he was on a staff that was 44-23, winning conference in North Division titles and 3 NCAA playoff berths. Todd was hired as a defensive coordinator at Drake in 2014, where his defenses led FCS across the years, noting in 2017, the Bulldogs led the league in total defense, pass defense, and first downs, and finished second in sacks. Under Todd's direction, a Bulldog player led the FCS in interception return yardage and finishing second in the nation with 8 interceptions. In 2018, his defense was one of the best in the nation, as the Bulldogs ranked 9th nationally in scoring defense, 9th in total defense, 6th in rushing defense, 10th in interceptions, 10th in tackles for loss, and 15th in defensive touchdowns. It was an exciting day when Todd was named head coach at Drake in 2018. In his first season, 21 student athletes earned league honors, the second most in the conference. In addition to the Bulldogs recognized for their play in the field, Drake's 3 selections to the Cassida Academic All-America team were the most among NCAA Division I programs. 2 men were first-team All-American, while the second Bulldog was a second-team selection. The Bulldogs' 2 first-team selections were tied with the United States Naval Academy. for the most first-team honorees in the nation. In addition, a Bulldog senior was one of 13 national finalists for the prestigious Stats Football Championship Subdivision Student Athlete Award. Todd took over offensive coordinator duties in 2022. His leadership on both sides of the ball resulted in the Bulldogs winning back-to-back championships in 23 and 24. Todd was named the 2023 and 24 Pioneer Football League Coach of the Year. He was also named the 2023 AFCA Region 4 Coach of the Year. Todd led a team of men through adversity to the historic heights of back-to-back championships. That was not done by wholesale roster changes, but by men in the locker room who believed in themselves, in each other, the head coach and assistant coaches, with grit and determination, values very important to UNI football. That belief we will take pride in at UNI. Furthermore, Todd as head coach is highly involved with the football program alumni. Football alumni receive frequent emails from Todd giving them insights into the program. In addition, he's involved with coaching alumni and stewarding their pride in the coaching lineage and tree. His experience cultivating relationships across alumni, university alumni, fans, donors, and the community are values in the storied history of UNI football. The men who have contributed to the history of UNI football matter to Todd in his leadership of a thriving football program. Todd is the first head coach, as I've said, in 8 years at UNI. He will join a legion of coaches who are writing the history books. I'm thrilled to welcome Todd to the collection of coaches. It is time. Please help me in introducing Todd Stepsis.
So I guess I'm done. That was amazing. Oh, sheesh. Well, just so you know, that was an amazing speech, and I'm gonna do everything I can every single day to make you proud. So, a couple quick thank yous. Number one, President Nook and Megan. Thanks for believing in us. That means a lot. I'm a big people person, as you get the chance to get to know me, and just how sincere both of you are and what great people you are. Megan, I mean, your superpower is how much you care. I mean, it is very evident in the 10 years that we've known each other. I mean, the student athletes matter, the department matters, the institution matters, and I'm very grateful to get a chance to work with you again. You know, my family's here. Two of my children, Zoe and Xander, they live in Ohio, so they couldn't make it. But Addie and Avery are here, so kind of a big deal for them to miss school, if you know me. It's either have to do with football, or you threw up, and I saw it. But if you're not sick and it's not football, you're at school. So for you to be here, just love seeing your smiling faces. And then my rock, my wife Angie. Everybody will get a chance to get to know her, and she's a lot of fun. She makes sure that if my ego gets too big, she'll bring it right back down to earth. But she's also good at picking me up off the ground when I need it to. So wouldn't be here today without Ange. And just on the topic of family, I have to thank Drake University and the people that were there. Those boys up there. I cared a lot about them, and we had a great time those 11 years, and the people up there, the administration, they were special to us. We poured our hearts and souls in that place. We loved them with all of our hearts, and that's what we're going to do here too. That's what we're going to do here too. And then, in addition to the people at Drake, the coaching staff, all those accolades and recognitions that we've had in the past, none of that's possible without great people and great coaches. And so there's a few of those guys up there. I love you, boys, and can't wait to work with you again soon. So let's get right to it. Probably wondering, okay, what's the plan? Where are we going? What's the next step? Again, thanks to the players that are here. I see a few familiar faces from last week. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I mentioned this a week ago. You know, change is tough. You know, and adversity strikes, and sometimes it's the easy thing to do is to tap out and to quit, and you didn't. You're still here. You're still standing. There's still some fight in you, and to me, that's where it all starts. So thank you guys for being here. But you know, everything that we're going to do here really revolves around one mission and one mindset. And so how can we create a brotherhood and an experience that's going to lead to us becoming champions year after year after year? So I hope you all heard me say champions. I didn't say championships. I'm aware of the expectations of this place and the history that everything that has become of this place. And yes, we're going to strive to win as many championships as we can and go to the playoffs and take this place, you know, to places never been before. But I'm never going to talk about that kind of stuff. I'm going to talk about developing champions, becoming champions. There's a difference. Championships are finite. They're a finish line. It's an ending. And I want to becoming a champion a way of life for our players. You know, you're going to be winners. We all know what that looks like on the field. You know, it's success. We all know what it looks like on the scoreboard. You know, it's being on top. But to me, you know, I want you all to be winners. I want you to be winners on the field. I want you to be winners in the classroom. I want you to be winners in this community and on this campus. I want you to be champion teammates and champion friends. And then once you leave here, you're going to be champion employees and then champion husbands and fathers. And so to me, like, that's where this all starts. You know, how can we create an experience here that's going to be one of the best of your lives, that if you had to be asked 20 years from now, would you ever do it again? You would say 1,000% I would. Okay, and to have a belief that your intelligence, your ability, your skill can all be developed through effort. I told you guys to put a reminder in your phone. I should call one of you out and see if you remember what it was. But it's you know, we are what we work to become. So we want to become champions, we got to work at it. We want to become great students, we got to work at it. We want to become great members of this campus, we got to work at it. So again, we're going to work, and we're going to get after it. So how do you do that? How do you create that brotherhood? How can you create that experience that's going to help us become champions? Well, it all starts with people. From Ohio, don't hold that against me, but a famous coach, Woody Hayes, worked at Ohio State for a long time, had a really famous quote, "You win with people." So we gotta get the right people. The infrastructure's here, the support is here, the foundation for the great people are here. We just got to continue to bring them in. So that's all with recruiting. So we're going to try to find our kind of guys. I'm going to call them the UNI guy. Okay, so you've got a talent, the Panther talent. Okay, you're going to have speed, physicality, intelligence. You're going to fit in our scheme. But more importantly, you're going to have the Panther spirit. Okay, you're going to have passion for football. Something that you're going to look forward to every single day, to be a part of a team and part of a sport that you love. You're going to have contagious energy. We've got to find people that are excited and enthusiastic to be here. We're going to have an attitude of a get to versus have to. I told a little funny story about the difference between the two. You know, have to go to Target with your significant other, or get to go to Target with your significant other. There's a difference between the two. Okay, we're looking for guys with mental toughness and fight. They're determined to be their very best regardless of the circumstances. Those are dependable and accountable. Most importantly, they have a lot of love to give. They love football, they love UNI, and they love the Cedar Valley. So we got to find those guys. They're not far. So a lot of you boys from Iowa, you know, I've been coaching now for 11 years in the state, and some of the most dependable, energetic, enthusiastic, productive players that we've ever coached are from this state. So by the time May's over, we're going to blitz it. We're going to make it ours. And I'm realistic. You know, the ones that Iowa and Iowa State really want, maybe we won't get those guys, but we're going to get everybody else. And we're going to have a lot of pride in having high school players come play for us. So once we find those guys, how do we keep them? How do we retain all these great players, these UNI guys? Well, first of all, in the recruiting process, they got to want to be here just as much as we want them here. But once we figure that out, it really comes down to us as a coaching staff and us as an institution. Every single time they walk over to practice or a meeting or whatever it is, it's the best part of their day. And that's going to be our focus as a coaching staff. How can we make these next 2 hours or however long it is the best part of our players' day? How can we, every single time we can, pour into our players to make this an experience that they're never going to forget? It's going to be one of the best of their lives. That's going to be the focus. That's going to be the mentality. We will be the best part of our players' day. And so then, okay, we've got the right guys. We've kept them around. Now we got to develop them. How are we going to make them the best that they can be? There's a simple phrase that hangs true in our house, and I think it really does apply to every situation in life, is leave it better than you found it. So I think that's got to be the focus. So on the surface, yeah, we're going to push chairs in and clean up after ourselves. When we're a visiting team, we're going to make sure that locker room looks great. But as a coaching staff, that's why we get into coaching, right? You know, we want to be an impact. We want to make a difference. We want to be a part of a journey, a 4-year journey where we bring in a freshman who's 18 years old, and he makes this transformation, this beautiful transformation to when he's 22 years old. We felt like we've left him better than we found him. And then he's going to take that attitude, and he's going to apply that to everywhere he goes. And over time, we're going to make this world a better place. And the ultimate goal, we found the guys, we kept them around, we developed them into champions. They're going to graduate here with a degree. We're going to have standards. There's no half-ass in this thing. You know, we are going to be all in on everything that we do, and our players are going to graduate with a UNI degree. Because you know what? We have a bunch of guys that have NFL aspirations, and I'm happy about that. In fact, I'm going to do everything we can to make sure that those dreams come true, but that life doesn't last forever. Football is a special sport. For when it's over, it's over. Sometimes it ends before you want it to end. For me, I was fortunate enough to play 4 years in college, and it's the best time of my life. But after that senior year, you know, look at me. I'm not an imposing figure here. I don't have an NFL frame going, but you know, I was told that my time was done. And so that's going to happen for every single one of our players. Hopefully, it's not because of injury or anything like that, but there will be a point in time where you will be told that football is no longer in the cards, and you need to figure out what else to do. And so that's up to us, is to make sure that you have a plan. It's all that passion that you have for football. How can we find the next thing where you can pour just as much energy into that? And how can you continue to have that fight with your new occupation or your new journey with your family? And how can you love it just as much as you love this place? So that's the plan. We've got a long way to go. We've got a lot of work to do. I'm not a guarantee guy. And again, I'm not going to guarantee wins or championships or anything like that right away. The one thing I'm going to guarantee is that Panther Nation is going to be really proud of us when they watch us on that field. We're going to do everything we can to make that happen. So I can talk about offense and defense and we-fence for days, so I'll leave that for maybe some other questions. But I guess the final thank you is for everybody that's here. For you to show up really means a lot to us and our family. And I definitely feel the love, and I can't wait to show it back. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Coach. Members of the media, if you guys want to move closer, you're more than welcome to, but we'll open it up. We've got Josh and Joel who've got wireless mics. If you guys just want to ID yourself and your organization, since Coach hasn't met y'all yet, but we'll open it up for questions. Raise your hands, and Josh and Joel will get you a mic. And thank you to Justin Mertz and our wonderful UNI band for joining us today. Appreciate it. All right, raise your hands. We'll get you a mic.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. You know, my philosophy, and I'm pretty much on record of this, is I'm not a huge fan of the transfer portal. I think that it was created with good intentions, but has kind of opened up Pandora's box as far as you know what the result is because of it. You know, this year's a little different. You know, we're looking at our roster right now to see, okay, you know, did we lose any key pieces? Do we need to replace them with maybe some more veteran guys? So this year's a little bit different, but at the end of the day, I didn't get into this profession for championships and wins. I got in this profession because of what it means for the 18 to 22-year-olds. So we're going to really hammer high school, and we're going to make sure that we find our kind of guys. And you know, the transfer portal, you know, for me, this year might have a little bit more of a role than in the future years, but you know, we're going to build our program with high school players. Oh yeah, it'll be a mix of both. Okay, so you know, we've got a few coaches that we've retained. You know, Coach Nelly, Coach Q, you know, Coach Van Wy. You know, those guys. You know, those are three guys just in conversations. You know, not only with current coaches and the team. You know, boy, you know, three guys that really care about this place. And I don't know if I'm gonna put Coach Nelly on the spot, but you know, talking to him, man, he just said, if I had to take out the trash and mop the floors, if I get to coach these kids and be a part of the program, I'm in. And so that's the type of guy he is, and the type of guy those three guys are. And you know, we had some other conversations with some other coaches on staff that we wanted to retain as well. You know, I thought, and I told every single one of them, they've done a phenomenal job of keeping the band together. I mean, I felt an engaged group on Tuesday night when we met with the team. All those recruits that signed on Wednesday, man, they were all in. And so, you know, there were some coaches on staff that declined you know, to stay on, and that's okay. But you know, we've got quite a few guys coming from Drake that have just poured their heart and soul into our program, and will do the exact same thing here. They've worked so hard. They deserve an opportunity to be at a place like this. Incredible tradition, and a place where football really matters. That's a great question. So, you know, I think the focus still needs to remain the same. Okay, so we need to scour for that talent and that spirit we're looking for. We have to find those guys that really want to be here, and then those are the ones we got to go after. And you know, in the past, it's been kind of heartbreaking because we found those players that have the talent and have the attitude that we want. They just haven't been able to afford to go to school where we were. And so, you know, to have the ability to now, you know, give an opportunity to a player that maybe, you know, wouldn't have it because they believe in what we're doing and what we are here, that's really exciting for me to be able to have a way to bring everybody into UNI that wants to be at UNI.
I think Rick Coleman's got one behind you too, Joel.
Coach, what would you how would you describe your brand of football, and then how do you think it may or may not need to adjust to compete in the Missouri Valley Football Conference?
Yeah, well, I could talk ball for days, so I hope I don't ramble on with this answer, but I'll try to keep it sweet. So I'm very familiar with the Dakota schools. I gotten my teeth kicked in a number of times by those guys, so pretty excited to even the playing field a little bit and maybe return the favor. But our style of ball really is going to revolve around who we have first, and then what can we do with them to make them successful. So it becomes number one, okay, we got to become familiar with the roster on our team. What do they do well? Find our best players. So on offense, who are our best players? How do we get them the ball? Now concepts, things like that, those are going to stay pretty true. We got to make sure we put the right guys in the right spots and make sure they get the right touches and the right targets. We're simple on the surface, but then really complex as you watch us. So I use this analogy, and it got misconstrued a little bit in our playoff game. So my wife, she gave me some crap the other day about it. But so we talk about our offense, and when you go to a party and you have a significant other, a lot of times that significant other wants to go shopping. Okay, so we want to make sure that we got a nice outfit for that whatever we're going to. Well, it's the same good-looking woman that's going with you. There's probably about, I don't know, a dozen or so outfits that look just as good on her, but she's been in pictures in those outfits. And so on our offense, we want to make sure that picture changes every single week. So it's the same beautiful offense, it's the same concepts, but we're going to change the picture, for people. And then, defensively, we're going to defend every blade of grass or turf, depending on what the surface is out there. We're going to suffocate people. We're going to be really aggressive. We have had phenomenal defenses the past 5 years that have really shut people down. And defense is more attitude. Offense is a little bit more schematic. Our defense is more attitude, and I know for a fact our defensive players are going to buy into what we're doing. They're going to do it at a high level, and they're going to play with great fundamentals. And then a lot of people don't talk about special teams, but we call it we-fence. So it's not offense or defense; it's we-fence. It's both sides of the ball working together. It's a unit that impacts the team, and so making sure that unit gets the time that it deserves to be elite. And so I think with all three of those phases. The competition is going to be stiff. There's some elite teams in our conference. It's the best conference in the country. But I do believe that what we'll do, and more importantly, how we'll do it, will allow us to compete with them. Thanks. Wow, that is a question. So I guess number one, I've never had a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 15-year plan. I've always been a day-to-day guy. Be great where your feet are. And so fortunately, I've never had to really go after a job. I've always been happy with where I am. And so why UNI? Well, on the surface, anybody that knows college football is like, well, shoot, do you know about UNI? Like, that place is amazing. I mean, football matters there. They have a rich tradition. I mean, you just go on and on and on about the positives of UNI. But why now? Actually, so my 11-year-old Addie down there, she waving at me. Hi, Addie. The decision wasn't a no-brainer for us because of how much we had poured into Drake and how much that place and that community really meant to us. But she looked at me Monday night and she said, Dad, when we walked around that place the other night, that place was really cool and the people there that we met were really nice. And it feels like they need us there. It feels like God wants us there. And we should go. And we'll be fine. we moved from Michigan to Iowa, and it worked out pretty good. And so we'll go there, and it'll be great. And so why now? That was a big reason. Beyond all the awesome stuff about this place, obviously. So.
Hey, Coach, you look at the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs right now, three Dakota schools with a lot of Iowans in. How do you go back to that recruiting thing? How do you close down the borders and keep those Iowa kids here starring for the Panthers?
Oh, man. Well, we've got a plan. We've got a lot of good coaches and a lot of good recruiters. They're locked and loaded. So I just think, number one, I mean, as a parent of two girls that play all the sports, and my wife snickers because, she's like, man, they play all the sports, and guess who is in charge of getting them everywhere or organizing it, because she works down there in Des Moines as well. But some of the best times of my life right now are watching them play. On the third base line, watching Avery pitch or Addie, slap bunt or try, whatever. But I love that. And so I think, that's where we got to start is, man, you're from this state. Your parents are going to want to see you play. How much easier will it be if you're closer by? And then we can start selling the program and the history and the tradition, and then what we're going to do with them, how we're going to develop them into becoming a champion and a winner. And that this is the place to be for you. And there's no other place than right here and right now. And so I think that we're going to, we got to work really hard and get into all the schools and turn over all the stones in this state. We got to put all of our barrels pointed at the state. And there's some good states and some areas that have been solid, for our team in the past. But the focus has to be here. And I think when you give it the attention and the work that it deserves, then we're going to reap the benefits.
All right, anybody else in the media? Looks like we've got one there, Joel.
Yeah, it was night, so so I drive up, not really sure how to get in, I mean, I remember we went in a couple days before, but, found one of the basketball coaches, flagged her down, she let me in, kind of waltzed in there, and of course, they got a picture on the jumbo board, and just kept thinking, man, my face looks really big on that thing, and there it is. So, but, just, again, one of the things that excites us the most about this place and this team is they've been through tough times. Losing 9 games, that's not easy. It's not easy for anybody involved. But that they're still here, I'm telling you, that's a skill in life that is starting to go away, the ability to handle difficult times. And the guys on the team, they felt it, they didn't like it, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's what I love to be a part of. That's what we can't wait to get started with.
All right, anybody else in the media corps? All right, so at this time, I'm going to ask my comrade Adam to come help me move this podium. We're going to slide this table out of the way, and we've got a few pictures to take, so bear with us for a moment while we rearrange the furniture, and y'all are welcome to come down and take some pictures here.